All right, welcome back to My Mom's Basement. It is Robbie Fox, and I am here with Austin and Colten Gunn, recurring guests, but it's been a while. It's been too long since you guys have been on the show. It's been almost 3 years, guys, which is crazy. Looking back, the last time you were on the show is September 2021 with your dad. At that point, you were still known as the Gun Club.
Ooh.
There was no Bang Bang Gang. There was no Ass Boys, no Collision Cowboys. You never had the Many Men walk out. You never had the
Oh
titles at
man.
the time.
Oh
You
my
hadn't even
gosh.
won the trios championship, the tag team championship. It's been a wild ride these past 3 years. I want to start by saying congratulations on all the success. I'm very proud of the work that you guys have put in and the body of work that you have at this point. And ask how you're doing. You're across the pond for All In this weekend.
Yeah, well, thank you for that introduction and thank you for having us on back then. But yeah, just naming all that stuff, I was like, holy shit. Can we cuss on this?
Of course, it's
No, but
Barstool. Come on.
yeah, I was just like,
Yeah.
holy shit. I guess we have done a lot since then. And I remember that day because me, Austin, and my dad were just walking around New York City, like trying to find the office and didn't know what was happening. But it's good to see you again, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Thank you for that introduction. Yeah, we've come a long way from the crowd to tag team to trios to forming the Bang Bang Gang. It's been a crazy ride. Sometimes you forget like everything that you've been through already. So yeah, it's been a ride.
And now we've arrived at All In this weekend. I'm so excited for it. Last year's All In was so awesome at Wembley, seeing AEW able to pack a stadium like that. You guys were a part of the show last year, but you didn't have a big marquee match like this that you were part of. So I know how motivated and driven you guys are. Was seeing the crowd and getting to feel that energy motivating for like, hey, we got to step it up next year?
Yeah, I think the first thing we said when we got back was like, yeah, we're on this show next year. Like we are wrestling on the show. Like that was the goal. So I was
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much
it's like we know what it's like to be in the crowd cheering for a big pay-per-view match. I mean, talk about the pandemic era. Me and Colton were the MVPs just cheering our butt off and we just kept looking at each other and setting goals. It's like, okay, now we want to make it on a pay-per-view. Then we would do that. And then being at Wembley, I remember coming through the curtain and Colton looked at me and he goes, "Listen, we're on this show next year. I don't care what happens." But being able to be a part of that entrance alone and be involved in that match with Jay and Juice last year was special in its own. We were able to absorb it. It almost wasn't real. And now this year, I think me and Colton yesterday looked at each other and it just the nerves are now starting to kick in. This is now real. We've hit our goal and now we just have to execute and really put on a show because we know there's people that are now in our position that we were in a few years ago of not being able to be on this show. So we know how special it is to be able to have a match on the show on the card, and we just have to just keep following through, pushing through, and just hitting our goals. So we're super excited to put on a show for you guys.
Yeah, and I feel like the energy in European wrestling crowds is obviously different than it is in America. It's different all over the world, but
Oh,
it's crazy in Europe. Did you guys get to experience that growing up? Did you ever go to like show your dad shows growing up across like the pond, as they say, across seas? Or did you get to experience that for the first time when you're a wrestler?
yeah, first time we were a wrestler. We never traveled like overseas with him. I don't think they were very because when they came over here, I don't think anything was really televised too much because they would do those like 2 week European tours or whatever, and you just hear about it because I
Hmm.
think the time difference or whatever. So I knew nothing about it. So then once we got out there, we're like, oh my God. And then even last night in Cardiff in Wales, like those people saw Dynamite and then we recorded Collision, as everyone knows, and they were just going crazy the whole time. Like, how are they not tired? Like, what is
yeah,
happening out there?
they have that Austin and Colton Gun crowd energy, baby, from start to finish. It's we were in Wales last night, and what's unique about this European crowd is like they have those unique like soccer chants, and I
Yeah.
didn't know any of them, so it was like it was making me pay attention to like okay, like I was starting to learn their way of being a crowd. It was super entertaining. It's like being at a soccer match. They were jumping up and down for Will Ospreay and it was the coolest energy. It just reminded me of just having that passion, that feeling. It was so cool.
And this weekend you've got a London ladder match. Is this going to be your first ladder match for you guys?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
buddy.
A lot of people don't realize like me and Austin went straight to TV. So everything you see us doing is pretty much a first. Like
Yeah.
our first our first live promo. Like we never got to do that. It's just like, okay, go on Dynamite and do that. Hey, your first tag match together, go on Dynamite and do that. Now, like, hey, go in front of 50,000 people in Wembley and have a ladder match. It's like, yeah, you put me and Austin in there, we'll deliver every time. But every time you see me and Austin, it's basically a first for us. So, yeah.
Is this something you've been
um,
thinking about forever? Like, oh my God, one day we're gonna be in a ladder match. We're gonna have to like think of our like ladder spots and our tag team moves that incorporate the weapon. Like, as a wrestling fan, I would think like that is something you think of forever. No, you're shaking your head. No.
well,
Mine
I
was,
think the. Sorry, go ahead, Colton.
I was going to say mine was never be in a ladder match because it probably hurts.
I think when we were doing tag matches, our goal at that time was like wrestle other second generation. So we were able to wrestle the Hardys and the Young Bucks and other great second generation tag teams. I mean, going into a ladder match, I mean, you have people that have been there before, like Christian Cage. And I think that's kind of a small goal that we've had. So going in there, there's a little nostalgia. I mean, we've watched him growing up our entire life. So being in there in a ladder match with him makes it a little bit more special and super cool. So we're excited about that.
Do you have there's like obvious ones, the TLCs, the original stuff like that. Do you have any favorite ladder matches in particular from wrestling history?
I
I've
mean, I
been doing
guess
my
you,
research. I've been doing my research because
Yeah.
when we were little, we weren't allowed to watch wrestling as
Mhm.
much. We were only allowed to watch dads, and dad wasn't in a lot of ladder matches. So we've had to kind of go back through the archive and kind of take notes and see what Christian Cage is going to be up to. So we have to do our homework. So I don't have a specific favorite one, but there's a lot of crazy stuff. And I had to turn it off. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I getting myself into?
Start making yourself nervous.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing it to myself.
Now, speaking of like your matches in particular, over the last 3 years, you've had so many gigantic ones that like I feel like I've seen multiple times people go, "Oh, this is the Gun's best match. Oh, this is the Gun's best match. Oh, this is the Gun's best match." And it's like always in the
I don't know
immediate
what you're
aftermath.
reading. I don't know
No?
what you're reading
Like I'm
because we
talking
never read that.
the FTR match, the Young Bucks match, Fight for the Fallen, right? The Revolution tag team match with like the multi-tag. Like there's so many where I
Yeah.
feel like right afterwards people go like, "Oh wow, they've stepped it up a level." Do you have one over the past couple years that you're together most proud of?
Oof. I mean,
I
we've
do.
been like, we've been in a lot of uh situations now. Like we, even with Jay and Juice, like we wrestled the Young Bucks and FTR in that paper in the semi main. And then we did, the Punk FTR Ricky Starks one in Toronto. That was insane. Like those eight mans were
Insane.
crazy. And like you said, like the tag matches, just every time we have to like up our level. Like the one we came out to Mini Men. I mean, that's just,
Oof.
I think just because the story behind it, and then coming out to that song in New York, and then main eventing for the titles. I mean, that was pretty cool, but I don't know. I'd have to think about
Yeah,
my
I
favorite
think
one.
yeah, I think my favorite one is the FTR and Young Bucks when we were with Bullet Club Gold. That one was from start to finish. The energy in the building was insane. But one low key that me and Colton always cherish is we went 30 minutes with FTR at a house show that no one saw. Just the people in the building were able to experience that, and we were able to get in there with FTR for a lot of minutes, and it taught us a lot. And I think coming back through the curtain, me and Colton were like, just another little checklist. It was like, man, we just went 30 with FTR. That's insane. And at that time, we were super proud of that, and we still are today. So, yeah, that's a low key one that no one has ever seen. So,
There's something that is added to that by being on a house show as well. Like some of the best matches I've seen personally in my life were at house shows at MSG or, the New Jersey arenas growing up, where it has that like old school wrestling feel a little bit more. You feel more engaged
yeah.
with the crowd because
Hmm.
they're the only ones you're engaged with. So I think that's awesome, especially
Yeah,
with FTR. Like that is the tag team to get that old school wrestling feel with.
yeah,
Yeah, you're not
they're very intimate. So like you're there with the fans, and then like sometimes you hear house shows like, okay, we're gonna like be with the crowd a little more and take it a little, but no, it was let's go, like pedal to the metal.
yeah.
We're giving them a show
And
for 30 minutes.
Yeah, and versus being on TV, you're restricted with time. So being on that house show, you were able to take your time and really feel the crowd and really feel what it feels like to be in the moment and don't rush and just kind of take it all in. So no pun intended, but yes, it was a very good learning moment.
Something I've been asking a couple of my friends that are in the wrestling business recently. I play in a band at Barstool where we're like kind of a shitty band who plays like maybe 5 shows a year, and that's the only time we're ever playing together. So there's a lot of moments on stage where someone will kind of start to go off the rails, but the rest of us will pick up on it and kind of like go with them to lock back in. And those are our favorite moments, like when something's about to go wrong and you save it. So I've asked some of my friends that are wrestlers, like, do you have those moments in the ring? And so many people are like, oh my God, yes. Like there are moments where something's about to go very poorly. You save it. And then those are the moments you're talking about backstage, even if it's not something that fans even pick up on. Do you guys ever feel that way?
I don't think a wrestling match goes 100% according to plan ever. Like, I mean, you're fighting someone out there. It's a sport. Like, nothing's going to go to plan all the time. So, like, you just improvise and go. And then you pick up on it. And, like, the beauty of tag team wrestling is me and Austin, we're kind of on the same page because we're brothers and we can know exactly what each other's thinking. So, we're very easy to get back on track and we know what each other's thinking, can pick up and just read the play and go with it. So yeah, well, the moment you're talking about, I know exactly what that is.
Like sometimes
Yeah, and I
that
think
feels
the
better
best
than it going
moments.
perfectly.
Yeah, I think the best moments come from that improvisation. It's like if you might set something up or have something in mind that you think is going to go well out there, and things get turned upside down and it ends up being better than what you thought. So I don't ever see that as a negative in live performance, whether you're singing or you're rapping or you're wrestling or you're in sports. It's like that improvisation is sometimes a better outcome in the end. So yeah, we you just have to hold your pressure and keep your head. So if you freak out, it all goes down. But you have to stay locked in.
Speaking of music, do you have anything in the works? Anything on the horizon from you?
Yeah, I just sent Colton my third freestyle. I've been so focused on wrestling that sometimes that spark for music doesn't come to me like an everyday thing. So I was on the plane the other day and wrote another freestyle. So I'll come out with that soon. I'm just kind of putting the last little twerks on it and I just want to release it when it's ready.
I saw you tweeting about that Brian Danielson interview where he shouted out the Bullet Club Gold theme and people talking about how much, that gets stuck in people's heads. Did you have a hand in making that?
Yeah, I was just I'm obviously I'm in musics, but I'm also thinking for three different people and I was like, guys, I think I want to find a couple beats that you guys like that fits all of us and it's really hard to to think for a whole group and what meshes with Juice, what meshes with Jay, what meshes with me and Colton at the same time, what fits our aura walking down the ramp. So I found something and then sent it to them, and then I took it to my buddy Safe Loves, who I came out with that EP with, and yeah, and I just went over to his studio and I put up the guns up in it, and then I looked for town noises and the shooting and the bells and stuff, and then we all put that together, and I sent it to the group, and they're like, "This is pretty good." I was like, "Okay, let's see how the crowd reacts and how people react." And when we were going through rehearsals that day, I was so nervous because like my music when I release it, I don't know how people are going to react. I don't know how my crew is going to react, how Bang Bang Gang is going to react, how the crew. And people were coming up throughout the day, and they were like, "Oh, is that your new theme?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "That's awesome. It's been stuck in my head all day." And then seeing the reaction online, they're like, "Oh, this is awesome." So that's been really cool to see when your music and everybody's energy fits the beat and stuff, and everybody likes it. So that was a cool thing.
That is
And
really
I
cool.
mean the presentation is just insane
Yeah.
with the spotlight and the 360 and like the water guns and everything. It's just we're killing
You are absolutely killing
it.
it. One of my favorite things about the guns is your gear. I think you guys have fantastic, from the entrance attire to the actual in-ring gear. It's obviously very Shawn Michaels inspired, but like, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Who's designing it? Who's making it? Do you have a favorite set that you guys have worn on television?
Ooh.
God, we have like 40
Favorite set.
sets.
Yeah, my goal, Dad always told us to have a lot of action figures. You have to have a lot of sets of gear, and I've taken that to heart since the beginning. So our goal was every time we were on TV, we needed a new set of gear. I wanted to have the presentation right. So me and Colton would look through the fabric, and then I'd go, "What do you think about this color scheme in terms of the zebras? What do you think about this?" And we just collab on that together every single time, and that has honestly become like a very expensive habit to stay with. But now it's just like in our brain, like every time we have a match, we have a new set of gear. Now in our closet, I think we have literally 46 pairs. Um, my favorite gear is probably the Blues Clues one. I think we wore that during the Hardys match, Colton. I'm not sure.
It was the Hardys and Ethan. We were with Ethan Page against
With
Hardys and
Ethan
Hook
Page,
on
yes.
pay-per-view. Yeah, it was
Yes.
a buy-in. But I think my
Yes.
favorite is the one they're actually coming out with our action figure with, like the turquoise that we won the tag team
Yes.
titles in.
The
Those are
Western print with the turquoise is awesome.
Did you
yeah,
get to pick
those are
that
pretty
for
cool.
your action figures?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
sweet.
Oh,
That's
And
and
very
that's
cool.
also that's yeah.
also another great gear I think is when we wrestled FTR for the second time in a straight up tag. We wore the Bret Hart inspired like
Yes.
we wore the Bret Hart glasses just to troll them because they suck. But like, yeah.
Who do you think, this is another question that I ask a lot of wrestlers, especially on the AEW roster, I've asked a lot. Who do you think the funniest wrestler backstage at AEW is? Who makes you laugh the most?
Juice.
Yeah.
Juice is so funny. He's so sporadic and he just has a different aura and energy about him that it's just so funny to be around him 24/7. And I really
I would
love his
say
energy.
I would probably say Daddy Magic. Daddy Magic makes me
Yes.
laugh. He's a fucking character. He's fun.
I've gotten both of those
Yes, that's
answers
another one.
before when asking this. Like
Okay,
Juice and Daddy Magic have both come up.
Because they
they're
don't
funny.
try to be funny. They're just naturally funny. They're just so
Yeah.
fun to be around. It's just very rare personalities.
Do you guys have someone you enjoy watching in ring the most right now?
I just watch my matches back. I don't really watch anybody else.
You're stupid.
uh,
Um,
uh,
I I really enjoy watching Jay work, Jay White. And I know that's kind of biased because he's in our group, but it's such a different style than me and Colton. He's so hard hitting and so fluid and so smooth, and it's such a joy to be able to be in there and learn from him because I just like to be a sponge in there and kind of see how everybody else is working and kind of going through them like their motions and their way of working and just watching Jay perform is just unbelievable. He is so good. He's so good, and it levels me and Colton up in certain aspects of our game.
yeah, I would probably say that as well. And just like because we're right there. We're like
I
literally
was gonna
front
say you
row,
have a
whether
front
we're
row seat. Yeah, like it
Yeah.
makes sense
yeah,
that you would say him.
whether we're seconding or we're like in the match, you just kind of get like, oh that shit, that was cool. Like
Yeah.
so
And
I would second.
from a jealous standpoint on the things he can do, Will Osprey is on another level. Man, just watching that man perform
Right.
is so it just we get to see it every week and it's just a blessing. It really is. It's crazy what he's able to do.
And the last time we spoke, I was asking about your goals in wrestling and music, but we'll go the wrestling route here. At the time, you said your goal is to just enjoy this ride with your dad. You were like, I don't know how much longer my dad's going to be in wrestling, in the ring and stuff. We just want to enjoy this. We're very grateful for it. What is the updated 2024 answer of what is the Guns goal for the next couple years?
I know like when I started, my main goal was just to win the tag titles with my brother. Like that was like number one. Like that's it. And we did that really, really fast. And now we've won the Ring of Honor six-man titles. We run the AEW World Trios titles. We're the first unified trios champions. So it's like, oh man, now like so I've had to recalibrate that. And I think it's just get more reps with Austin, just become, under like I don't want to say that word. Just become like the greatest tag team ever. Like why not set that as a goal? Yeah, it might be high and it might be hefty, but like if you don't have that goal, then why are we wrestling? Why are we trying to be a tag team? So I think that's the new goal for me.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the same similar goal that I have, and that's cool to have the same goal as your tag partner, so we're not going on different paths. I've enjoyed the ride, and we were having fun and trying to find our groove. But now that we found it, and now that we've won tag team gold and the trios unified gold, I think it's just about now. How can we be the best now that we have our groove and we have our faction and stuff? It's just like we're gonna be the best. So now put some respect on our name for being able to do what we've done in such a short amount of time. So now it's about just proving everybody wrong.
Hell yeah. I
Yeah, and
love it.
speaking about short amount of yeah, speaking
Go
of short
ahead.
amount of time, like I was just thinking about when we were on the bus yesterday, I was like, damn, I started training August 5th, 2020. So then August 25th, 2024, we're wrestling Wembley for titles we've already won. And it's just like that's been a pretty crazy ride. So
That is great. That's an insane 4 years. Like your first 4 years of wrestling. Very few people can say
Insane.
that, especially considering you
yeah.
started like and the pandemic broke out as well. That being in the middle of all
Yeah.
of it, insane. But like I said at the beginning of the interview, I'm very proud of the work you guys have put in and the work that you guys have put out as well. Very excited for All In this weekend. Everyone, check it out on pay-per-view. The London ladder match is going to steal the show.
Yes, it
Yes, it
is.
is. And if you're not down with the mom's basement and seeing the guns at Wembley, we got two words for you. Guns.
Guns. Man.